All right, everybody. I'm gonna get us off and running since I've done a bunch of these things. It says on our agenda that we're going to swearing in before the pledge. We're going to do the swearing in first. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Wilmer, you guys have to be official Parks and Recreation Board members before we do the pledge. So good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Davis. I'm the mayor here in Manvel. I'm a little dressed down than I normally am for these swearing-ins. I have another activity to go to with my son after this, so my apologies. I consider it a great honor and privilege to be able to swear in members of my community who are giving up their time and putting forward their effort and God-given skills to give back to the community that all of us call home. And so thank you for being willing to serve. You're going to, in these seats, learn a lot about the history of Manvel, how we got to the point as to where we're at, why the Parks Board was disbanded in 2017, and why it's so critical that we have each of you here now. We have such a tremendous opportunity in front of us because Parks and Recreation is more than just playgrounds and trails and ball fields. It's about creating and cultivating community. And so I'm appreciative of you, of council, of staff, of the community being committed to investing in parks because that's investing in our future. And so what I would like for you to do is please stand and join me. And what I'll have you do is I'll have you raise your right hands, and then I'm going to have you repeat after me. There's a part where I'm going to say, I say your name. Don't say your name, but say your name if you get what I mean. And then you're just going to repeat after me. So I say your name.
Brian Wilmer.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The duties of the office.
The duties of the office.
Of the Parks Board.
Of the Parks Board.
Of the City of Manvel.
Of the City of Manvel.
Of the State of Texas.
Of the State of Texas.
And will.
And will.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution.
The Constitution.
And laws of the United States.
And laws of the United States.
And of this state.
And of this state.
And the Charter.
And the Charter.
And ordinances.
And ordinances.
Of this city.
Of this city.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, guys. I think what we'll have you do before you leave tonight, Tammy, they'll have to sign it in a blue ink pen. I've learned in government that it's blue ink pen unless it's an election. It's black ink pen. I don't know why. Government's interesting. So we'll just need to make sure that you guys sign that and we get a copy of it before you head out tonight. So congratulations, and I look forward to seeing, you guys can take a seat. I look forward to seeing all that you accomplish and working together and the recommendations that you ultimately make to City Council. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Welcome, Parks Board members. We're going to have to stand right back up because we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the pledge to the Texas flag, and it's down here on the bottom if anybody is not familiar. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All righty. And we are off and running.
Yep.
Public comments. Do we have any public comments? Okay. All righty. Moving on, we're going to do some self-introductions. We're going to start at this end of the table? And
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Byron Sarmiento, Crystal's husband. Been getting real involved with the city here the last year or so. Glad to be here. Parks and recreation is something I'm real passionate about. I'm a fitness fanatic. I like riding bikes. I like jogging. I like lifting weights, trails, anything outdoors. I'm all about it. Dog parks, those are things that are right up my alley. So I'm glad to be on this board with you guys and looking forward to hopefully getting some things done with you guys. Thank you for having me.
All right, my name is Larry Acree. I used to like all the things he said, but I get a little older, you can't do them as much. Lived here 48 years next month.
wow.
Been on council a number of times. Never been on this, though. So, anyway. That's about it.
Hi, I'm Linda Doon. I'm the nurse on the team.
All right.
I'm interested in taking fitness to a higher level and involving the community more and getting some logic behind what we do as far as parks and recreation and to communicate better to the public. I think those are 3 things that I'm interested in doing. And I look forward to working with y'all. I think we'll have a good time.
All right. My name is Brian Wilmer. I've worked with parks for most of my adult life. I worked for the City of Houston Parks Department for many years. I was sort of the in-house landscaper, and we re-landscaped a bunch of city parks. I did a survey of the health department, the horticulture at the health department, and then I did a survey of the, thank you, ma'am, of the library department. Mayor Bill White wanted the parks department to take over maintenance of the entire library department. So I was in the process of landscaping 14 libraries simultaneously when Discovery Green came along, and Bill White was very involved with Discovery Green. And so I moved over there as both park manager and horticulturist. And I think the reason they wanted us to, the park manager to be the horticulturist is that way you couldn't complain about all the events that were destroying all the plants in the park. We had 800 events a year and over 1 million visitors a year. So that was a real eye-opening experience. After that, I was on our planning and zoning. I was on the Parks Board before. I worked on this document way back in 2016. I'm an officer of Keep Pearland Beautiful, so I know a lot of the Friendswood Parks people. They're all good people. I was on the County Parks Board for 6 years. In fact, our meeting dates got switched from first and third to second and fourth, so that I could attend the Parks Board meeting and be on council at the same time. So I have a real respect for parks. Manvel has such a bright future with parks. We have so much room to grow. So that's me.
I'm Ellen Nagley. I've been a resident of Manvel for 30 years. Prior to that, I grew up in South Houston, not too far from here. My interest is in the habitat aspect of the parks. I have a degree in forestry, second major in wildlife biology. I was a wildlife biologist for the U.S. Forest Service for a while, specializing in endangered species management. Came back to Texas to work in the family business for a little while. Our parents had a trucking company, and it was just supposed to be for a little while, and then here I am 30 years later. But I still have an interest. That's what I bought here in Manvel. At the time I moved here, it was still had a lot of overstory, wide open spaces, and about 60 acres, and tried to make my own little place, and that's what my project has been doing so far. And so I just kind of want to spread out from what I've been doing and try to help as we make decisions, keep those aspects of wildlife habitat, whether it's birds, bees, pollinators, in mind as we make decisions for our opportunities that we have here. I see it kind of like there's a big block of granite that we've been blessed with, and now we get to really make some good choices from the get-go. So that, along with connectivity, is real important to me. Connecting all these green spaces that we have, whether it's parks, bayous, things that you might not think of as habitat that maybe look ugly to everything else, those are super key to connecting everything together. So that's kind of really what I wanted to be involved with, is as we make these decisions, we keep those things in mind. Because ultimately, I feel like maintaining habitat for wildlife, birds, bees, pollinators, is us too. We depend on it. I feel like that. So it's all connected in. So that's why I'm here, to do what I can with that.
My name is Sam Miller. I am a Manvel newbie, going into my 4th month being a resident of the city of Manvel. I have about 20 years of experience in parks and recreation. I started off as a recreation coordinator right out of college, and then moved up to recreation supervisor, managed all the aquatics programs for the city of Jackson, Mississippi. Left there, did about 5 years with a consulting company for the United States Air Force, running all the morale, welfare, and recreation at Keesler Air Force Base. Came back to Jackson as the Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation, largest department in the entire state. I think we had 54 parks, about 54 parks, about 150 ball fields. I stayed there for a couple of years, moved to Texas to take a job at NASA to manage the morale, welfare, and recreation programs at Johnson Space Center. So I've been there about 8 years. I have a project management certification, so I'm familiar with capital improvement projects, as well as I have a certification from the NRPA as a certified Parks and Recreation specialist. Other education includes a bachelor's degree in athletic administration, as well as business administration, and a master's degree in kinesiology and exercise science. So.
Very impressive.
Scared to go after all that.
He's going to make us drop and give him 20 here in a
So-
second. Okay.
I'm excited to be here. When I seen the posting on Facebook, I looked at it as an opportunity to give back to a community that I want to really be involved with. So that's me.
Good evening. My name is Marianne Atkinson. I've been a resident here going on about 19 and a half years now. I, too, look forward to getting families out to the parks with fitness trails, parks, all of that. Then also the wildlife. I want to be able to merge wildlife with our community and live together. I think we need to make a safe place for all of it. I think we need to educate our children on why the wildlife is there. I have a lot of ideas along that. I have no formal training except home training on that kind of stuff. My mother was very good at gardening and stuff like that, so I learned a lot from her. I want to get our children, even though they live in the neighborhood or think they live in the big city, I want to be able to bring that wildlife aspect, the gardening aspect, everything we can to give them the opportunity to learn more from us as a city and watch them grow. I want a place for them to play that's safe, that's just they can go to, the parents can let them run out in and have fun and not worry about it. I'd like to see more like fishing areas, wildlife areas, education areas, basically just merge in with wildlife and the community so that they have somewhere to go learn and grow.
Hi, my name is Keith Bonner. I'm on the city council here in Manvel. I'm on the board as your liaison back to the city council. So hopefully as information needs to pass from city council to the board, or you've got questions that need to go to the city council, that's what I'm here for, to offer any help that I can give to y'all. Okay?
Big ticket item, yeah.
It's all on Brian.
All righty. Do you three gentlemen want to introduce yourselves and let us know who you are?
Sure. My name is Dan Johnson. I'm the city manager here in Manvel. I've been in this role for, goodness, just almost a year now, but I've been a part of the community since, I guess, 2008. I was the consulting city engineer for many, many years, and then came on staff about 4 years ago as the assistant city manager. And anyway, so here I am now. But in fact, I was with Dolores Martin yesterday. We were looking at designs for our new water tower, and we were sort of reminiscing about some of the things that we talked about 15 years ago, and to finally see them coming to fruition, because we had dreams have been around for a long time. Larry's been around for a long time, and you guys have been around, and the dreams just never could come to fruition because there were never any monies associated with them. So it's really, really exciting for me to be a part of some of those early master plans, comp plans and stuff. They were literally just a neat thing that went on your bookshelf, and now this stuff is actually happening. So I'm really excited, and this is a perfect timing for us to get our Parks Board back up and running. We don't have a Parks Department yet, quite frankly. It's the guys in Public Works that can mow without running over things. That's our Parks group right now, right? So we have barely just 100 people on staff. And so we're growing like crazy, as you can imagine. So we're going to get there, and so this will be helpful, to have some experts. And in fact, I was taking notes. I need to get some applications from y'all, quite frankly, to get you on staff and get you off of this Parks Board and get you onto staff because y'all got some good pedigrees. But anyway, that's enough about me, Bobby.
Bobby Gervais, City Attorney. Been doing municipal law for 30 years. Represented Manvel since 2010 and was in-house 2015, so been in-house for about 9 years. Represented a lot of different cities, seen a lot of different parks and rec boards, big and small. So it'll be interesting to see, since Manvel is small but is going to be big, how we're going to bridge that gap. And it is the Parks and Rec Board. It's not just the Parks Board. So I'm a big proponent of events too, and actually had a hand in creating a music festival in Texas City that started up to honor Charles Brown, a old-time blues guy from Texas City that the city had never done anything for. So I'm happy to be a part of it and help out any way I can.
I'm Jose Abraham. I'm the Director of Development Services. I'm going to be staff liaison for the most part. And I have some background and experience in both architecture and city planning, urban planning, which parks is a big component of. And I've been a park user ever since I can remember. That's another qualification I would add to my credit. Yeah, and experience-wise, I've worked on comprehensive plans, which always had a heavy parks component to it. All of the workplaces I've had a park close by. Manvel's gonna have a park close by, which we're gonna talk about. So with all of that, I'm really excited to be staff liaison for the Parks Board here. And do we want to pass on to anybody else?
It's up to the chair, or acting chair.
I think we're good. We'll move on to consideration and possible action to appoint a chair. Do we have a process in place, or? Okay. I would like to take this opportunity to nominate Mr. Miller to be the chair.
I second.
Okay.
Do you accept?
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Okay.
All those in favor of Mr. Miller? Looks like it passes unanimously. All right. So I guess we have a little you want to pass this down to him?
Is there some music I need to be like?
I think a hail to the chief or something like that. Yeah. And then you will carry on from there. We're on item 3.
Okay, agenda item number 3, consideration and possible action to appoint a vice chair. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Ellen.
I second that.
I was going to nominate you. I just didn't speak quickly enough.
All in favor of Ellen?
Wow. Okay.
Oh, we didn't even ask her if she wanted to accept.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a choice.
We just figured
this? There's a whole room full of bullies in here. What
Yeah.
Straight
right.
Shanghai.
I accept. I'm honored. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Got a lot to learn from this guy here, man. Wow. It's an opportunity.
Normally, the way these things go is whoever doesn't show up gets nominated. So
Yeah.
since everybody showed up.
Everybody showed up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, are we ready to move on to the 4th item on the agenda? We have discussion/overview of the Open Meetings Act.
Tammy, is that you or me? Okay, I figured. Well, I'm here to tell you a little bit about the Open Meetings Act, because congratulations, as of about 15 minutes ago when you got sworn in, you are now public officials, which means you have fewer rights than you did 15 minutes ago. What I mean by that is now, if you get together with a quorum of these fine folks, which a quorum is 4 out of 7, you can no longer get together and talk about really city business unless it's in a posted meeting, a meeting that's posted 72 hours ahead of time. That's one of those sunshine laws that's been on the books for quite some time, and there are criminal penalties if you violate that, which is you guys, not us. It's the people who are actually the public officials can violate this Open Meetings Act. So what happens is, if you run into, one of the other people on the board and HEB or whatever, you can talk about something. It's just 2 of you. If a third person comes on, you're getting dangerously close to that 4-person quorum. So you always recommend, 3 people, that's it, because what happens is one of those 3 people may talk to a 4th person. One of the other 3 people may talk to the 5th person. And all of a sudden now you've got a daisy chain. And that's becoming an increasing issue with public entities all over, and some DAs that are actually taking it seriously enough to actually charge people. And there are ways that you can trip up very easily. You can have a meeting without being physically present, all in the same room, or a quorum being in the same room. You can actually have a meeting by email. That's why when Tammy sends out an email, it's mostly going to be done where you can't hit the reply to all or the go to jail button. Because if you start doing discourse by email, according to the Attorney General and the law, you are having a meeting, even though you're not physically standing next to each other. You could also do it by telephone. The mayor of San Antonio got indicted. The night before the council meeting, she was calling up all the council members. Guess what? If a quorum of the council are talking on over the phone, that's considered a violation. And they weren't even all in the same room either. And it was what's called the daisy chaining effect. The mayor would call one person, and then call another person, then call another person, and basically linking them all together. That's considered a meeting. That's illegal. So you have to be very, very, very careful, because this board is subject to the Open Meetings Act per when we created it. Well, sometimes advisory boards can make the argument that they have no delegated authorities, therefore they don't have to follow Open Meetings Act. We kind of removed any doubt and put in the actual ordinance creating the Parks and Rec Board that it will follow the Open Meetings Act. So if people do call you, it's very tempting. If people call you or contact you, kind of one of the first things you need to ask is, who else have you talked to about this? We don't want to get in trouble. They'd be, oh yeah, right, I've talked to the other 2 people, and yeah, we better not be able to talk about it. So my advice is to always do that. Tammy is going to be good about not having that reply to all button, so that when you reply, it's going to be where you won't see who the other recipients are. But you do have to be mindful that you can, really very easily, unintentionally, violate the act. And I know some people have been on council or old hats on that, but people that are newbies, that's probably something new you're not used to. So that's why we put it on the agenda, go over it real quick. And if you have any questions at all, I'm always here and always available. Please give me a call, and I can do what I can to help. So, are there any questions about kind of the basic functions of what it is you have to do? Yes, Byron.
So say, for example, we're at a park for a grand opening or something, is that considered a quorum? And what does that entail exactly?
Yes. And Tammy will usually post a notice of quorum. If the Parks Board is even going to go to like a chamber opening or something like that here, or at a park or whatever, she'll post that, even though it's not really a city called meeting. If a quorum's going to be there, she'll probably post it, not only for council, but if you guys are going to be there, she'll post it for that too. And that's a very good question.
I assume that it includes social media of any type?
Well, that's a little more difficult, but yes, they're getting very clever about that, and the records retention becomes an issue because a lot of that stuff needs to be captured. But if 4 board members are on Facebook, talk of whatever, going back and forth, talking about city business in an electronic forum, it's really very similar to email. You're looking at trouble. So you have to be very, very careful, because you are now public officials, which carry some responsibility.
So a suggestion is that you use your staff liaison, because you can communicate with Joe's, and then Joe's can distribute information, or Tammy can, and that's what we do with council. A lot of times I'll distribute things out to the council, and if they have individual questions, then they can send it back to me. So I think.
This only applies to us up here. We can talk to unlimited number of citizens or staff or anybody else. It's just amongst ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Just be mindful what you actually say on social media. That's the way I look at it. I try to be really good and not answer some of the questions for that reason too. I don't want to put myself out there thinking that they can come to me or other people get together and do it, so.
All right, any other comments? Ready to move on to agenda item number 5? Staff updates / suggestions on possible board projects.
So we debated on how much to throw at you your first meeting. So actually I asked Wale to be here tonight. If you hadn't met Wale, he's our capital projects manager. You have a minute to come up, and I called you in after hours. Do you have a minute to just kind of update on Croy Park, maybe kind of what all we've been doing out there? You have the floor, good sir. So technically, for those that don't know, especially if you just moved to Manvel, so technically we only have one active city park. It's called Croy Park, and it's actually in our ETJ, which is a little embarrassing, but it is. It's out on Croy Road, not Croy Parkway. It's kind of backwards, but it's between Pomona and New Hope Church. If you hadn't been out there, so it's a great little spot right up against Mustang Bayou. I think we're in our third phase of different improvements going on out there, and Wally, are you going to put something up there or no? Darn it. Okay.
And if you haven't been out there, I suggest you go look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, so we put new playground equipment about 2 years ago. The old stuff was old, like probably what a lot of us grew up with, the metal rivets and, dangerous kind of stuff. And so that's got the new playground equipment. We put some benches out there and some coverings. I think actually we put a covering over the playground equipment as well. Some actual flooring down there for the kids instead of, gravel like we grew up with. There you go. So that was the first phase, right? And then the second phase, I guess, and Larry, tell me again, landscape art? There we go.
Garden art.
He calls it garden art. It's landscape art, right?
Isn't it, Brian?
It's landscape.
Landscape art.
It is?
Yeah.
Shake your head, yeah.
And is it just the second phase just starting, or is it, because
Technically the
Okay,
third phase, yeah.
I won't save it, but when I was there this weekend, I was not impressed at all.
I went there today, Harry and I, and we had some issues.
Good.
Yeah.
So I like to start it off by catching everybody up to speed with the park itself. So here you can see this is actually taken from August 30th, 2023. This is before any phase of the project kicked off. So I'll just kind of get you guys to where I want y'all to see. We have the playground equipment, the picnic tables and such there, the park being mowed periodically. But when I fly overhead, you'll see we didn't have much of an amenity park. We just had a few trees, a few shrubs, a little bit of monkey grass, and that's what we had for our green space in the park. We didn't have any migratory birds or exotic butterflies, any kind of visitation, nothing that you could go and educate children or anybody on in general. Mind you, before this project started, I was not a parks person. I'm an engineer by degree. I'm a project manager. I am a numbers guy. I like to work on trucks. It's just, that's me. It's just that simple. But this has definitely opened my eyes to a lot of missed opportunity. And being a resident, I was very ecstatic. This is one of my affordable projects, I guess, lower on the budget, but it's one of the ones I'm most proud of. So as you can see here overhead, we have nothing. We have a gazebo that's been there for I don't know how long, but that's where people take pictures. But for the most part, We just have a few soccer clubs visit. That's what we had prior. Now what I want to show you is last week. Mind you, that's the wrong video. That's our sign right there in a little brush pile. We have landscape art who we contracted with to take care of bringing in a lot of, what do we call them? What kind of plants are they? I can't remember.
Native.
Native. Yeah, they're native. So they'll survive our harsh weather conditions. So they came in, brought in a lot of different plants that are going to stimulate, visitors, not just people, but birds, butterflies, hopefully not snakes. I don't like snakes. But you can also see the DG trail that we put in. Now it's really turned into an amenity. I have a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and my wife enjoys the trail because she can take the stroller and get her walk in while the 4-year-old wears herself out. So having this amenity, just as a resident, I am grateful for, because we don't have this even in our own neighborhood, right? We have concrete sidewalks that are 4 foot wide. So, walking and stalking my wife from behind isn't really fun as a family trip. Here, we actually, one of Dan's pat on the backs, his 5 foot sidewalk implementation back when he was the engineer. We carried that through here. So you can walk side by side with someone and enjoy a true walk with your family around the park. And it was really fun to learn about we have so many different species of plants here. Obviously, these saplings are very hard to differentiate, but I'm very excited to see, these plants take root and to bring people to this park and share the lot of knowledge I got to pick up on because I got to work with it, but show off my newfound knowledge. I know you mentioned you went last week and you might not have been the happiest camper. I mean, keep in mind, we just had a severe hurricane followed by 3 days of adverse weather. Exactly. So, I mean, our public works team has been. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know the kind of money and time that you put into it, and we're on the landscaping people. So
this is the best part. So to give you guys a project update, the project is not closed out yet. So it's not closed out, and it would be fictitious to say it was by design, but it just fell that way purposely. We are waiting for water features to go in, and because of that, they can never claim substantial completion. With that being said, our landscapers are still tasked with the maintenance of the park. Even with this Act of God event, what you see here is nothing compared to what it looked like 2 weeks ago. So, mind you, they are 3 months over their contract end date, which I want to say was April 10th. That was their anticipated completion date. They're 3 months over there. We only paid for a 3 months maintenance period, which we have not started. And they came to their truth and came and picked up all those branches and down debris, and they put it together in a pile for us. Now, they just don't have the equipment and the resources for haul off. It would be pretty expensive to have to haul that off and mobilize to do that. But for them to stick by their word and continue to maintain the park, even with these unforeseen events and delays and us being very meticulous with our submittals, dragging it out, sadly, they have definitely continued to keep their word. Again, we have not started even the maintenance period, and they've been upkeeping all the saplings, making sure everything is growing through a hurricane, replacing damaged plants, all of the things they promised. And I must give them kudos because we did pay a lot of money, but they are definitely backing it up. So I just wanted to share that with you. As you can, that's the debris pile back there. That's one of the few. Our Public Works Department is working alongside it with them to get this picked up. I also want to add that we have unfortunately had equipment failures over the past few weeks. We had tractors go down. We've lost mowing decks. Obviously, with this much water and that we've been getting, we've had really tall grass to cut, and it's been taking our equipment out piece by piece. We haven't had a full fleet of equipment working until just recently, and they took care of our park maintenance. And that's a real big pat on the back for them, and I really appreciate them doing that. Obviously, they needed to do it to get to what they needed to take care of, but they took care of our park maintenance for that time being. And I must give kudos to our contractors, and I'm happy that we did not go second best, because I can only imagine if we went second best what that effort would have been. So we're working to get this brush pile cleaned up. When we get available guys on the ground, we'll go get it picked up. But I'm happy that we're at least able to go pick up a few down branches and sticks. I can actually show you from their reports, this is what the park looked like. All those down limbs everywhere in the park. This is what they came and started cleaning up right after the hurricane on, I think it was 7/10. Yeah, 7/10 are when these pictures came. Here's just another one. You can see just they really did come through and pick up everything that was down. They did send me just an estimate on the things they replaced. It wasn't that much. You know, the small saplings survived pretty well, but there were a few plants they did have to replace, and they took it on themselves. So just to give you guys an update on the park and why it looks the way it does. We are working to get to it, but that does also open the door that we are really hoping this year we can get a groundskeeper on staff to tend to the parks, to focus primarily on that, because it does stress our team. They have miles of right-of-way to take care of and maintain, and public safety is number one. So I'd rather them knock down high grass along Highway 6 and other sides of roads than get to the park.
Wale, do you have a timeline on those water features?
Yes, so August 27th. Because of that, August 26th is when Houston Water Gardens will be starting. Our original date was June 27th, and we had that pushed because, well, honestly, we lost that time slot because we didn't make a decision on what we wanted as a submittal. I don't know if you guys all know, Glenn Olson has been the lead on this project, reviewing the submittals meticulously. And he is not one to say no to something that's subpar. So it was months of back and forth on all the submittals. This one particularly, honestly, he is not satisfied, but he is definitely at the point where he's like, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, it's a compromise for sure.
Yeah. He's not, I don't want to say compromise, because he really is making them go above and beyond. It's like an exotic stone that he wants. He said it brings out, it matches the colorway, things I'm not familiar with, right? Blue is blue to me. Light blue, dark blue is all blue. But he can see it, he has an eye for it, and everything he's called has been perfect. It matches the stone selections, it's not gonna dull, it has the right curvatures. I can't explain it all. He can't.
Now, is that why nothing is planted yet, because the water is not in?
Oh no, everything's planted. Those are all saplings there. Those are all the saplings.
Because I thought there was going to be, I know there's a few butterfly bushes and stuff like that. I mean, I actually took some pictures of that, but I thought there was going to be more of the plants, not just the saplings, but the plants, and then the water feature. I didn't know are we getting like a koi pond or
Oh yeah, I do actually.
Yeah.
So let me pull it up. We're getting bird ponds. And the reason, I can go back to the bids and we can, so this is actually the bird bath.
So this is going to be for the migration birds.
Yes.
This is more of a bird feature than a koi pond.
Yes.
It's not about the depth.
These are really shallow water features, because you got to think of the maintenance as well.
Yeah.
Well,
We
and,
don't
and
have
that's
the
the
people.
other thing that I was worried about, because
Yes.
we don't have anybody.
Someone to take care of.
Yeah.
it. Exactly.
Okay.
So this is the bird bath. It's this one particularly is staged far off in the park, because honestly, birds don't like us. Well, they like us, but they don't want to be around us all day. They don't want to be bothered. This is really to bring them there. We'll see them in the park, but it's kind of ducked off. If you look in this vicinity map, it's very small, I know. But it is far out in the corner of the park where the trails are at.
Can you kind of tell us, is it by the bayou or is it by the road?
It is.
'Cause I know there's that big field just past the
I'll show you, actually.
place,
So
or
if I
just
come
past
in-
the walkway there.
Could be the southeast corner.
Southeast?
Is that what I would describe it as?
So if I back up, right, it's right in this area right here. They're going to be shrub, right where this tree's at. This tree's actually,
And that's just past the
It-
playground?
it's, I don't know if you see my mouse, all the way to the right.
The playground is at the very top.
That-
Yeah, that's the
okay.
playground, so it's far.
So it'll be kind of between the playground and the soccer fields?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So it'll be covered, and it's going to be covered with bushes. That's how it's designed, because that's what brings the birds. a
Yeah,
little
they want
solitude.
peace, yeah.
Yes, and then that's the bird pond. And let me go to the next exhibit. which would be the bird bath. This is the one that we're actually relocating, and it's going to be more of a water feature now, not a bird bath or bird pond, sorry. So not a bird pond. It's going to be a little bit more, I don't want to say like a fountain, but it's going to be something that we see. It's actually getting relocated from this back end corner to more central, where we had the walking trail circle right here where people can come and stand. I'll show you in the other video.
It looks like there's y'all going to put a bridge across where the walking trails? Is that what that is?
No.
What?
There's no bridge.
Okay.
Yeah, that would just be a hazard. We don't want anything that we can't take care of.
You gotta give them some excitement. You know, like you said, we had metal playground equipment.
Yes, yes.
Better wait till after we have a Parks Department.
There you go. So right in this area right here, that's where it's getting relocated to.
Okay.
Right here in this area. So it's going to be one of the first things you see when you walk through the new arbor.
Yeah.
I think you saw the new
Yes,
arbor when you
yes,
went.
that was actually
that was a
beautiful.
lot
That was
better,
the
a lot more
replacement
rigid.
one, right?
Yes, that was.
That
the
was-
Yeah,
replacement
that was what
one.
was originally designed, and then they put something in that looked like
yeah.
I could build it, and that's not saying much.
It came from Home Depot.
Yeah, that was-
Yes, it really was off the shelf, and we won that fight. We did not
Yes.
pay any extra for that.
I remember that.
That
and it
was a
is
win on our
beautiful,
part.
Beautiful arch.
Yes, you can thank the task force for that one because they backed me up with that one. That was great. So that is the location of the bird pond. Again, this isn't the submittal. I still haven't seen it. Glenn has seen a few different iterations of it. I have not seen the one he finally gave them approval for, but it will pretty much follow the same thing. These selections, these same plant types, and it's going to be more in the front. So now we can see it. It's something that's going to be like, oh, wow, that's kind of grand. That's nice.
It's going to want people to go in further.
Yes.
That's-
yes.
What else is here? Kind of
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let's go in and see. Let's go explore.
Yes.
These features that you all are putting in, are they all ADA accessible? Is no swells where it would be?
No swell, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So you already know the deal. So that was the biggest reason why we went with landscape art. There was a few, with Glenn's initial proposals, there were a few hiccups, right? There were a few little low spots. We have some natural swells. We have some put in that help get the water off site. And we were going to put pipes in and whatnot just to get it to grade and drain naturally. These guys assessed the area. They told us where we didn't need pipes, how they could continue to use the existing swells on the outside to divert water, and it's been working pretty well. We do have like one or two spots that kind of pond, but not to the extreme. So knowing that we avoided that, just trying to find, a mom and pop or someone off the corner that doesn't look into those kind of things, that was a good win on our part.
Wally, didn't we also, at least one, if not two, of the picnic tables are ADA, where you can
Yes.
move the wheelchair right up to?
Wheelchair wrap, yeah. So the picnic tables that we have there, we already have some, and the one that we are proposing to go in the central area would not have. It will have a cutaway bench, so you will have the three benches around, and one that you can first walk up and roll into if you need to. So yeah, it'll be open. What else did I have for you? I had some more stuff.
Could you go over the timeline just a little bit more? August 26th is when they begin work on the water features?
Yeah, the water features they said it's probably anywhere from 7 to 10 days. It's not that detailed because we already had the electrician come in and run the conduit. We already have water plumbed to the actual sites. So that portion's all done. It's actually just bringing in the stone, excavating literally less than 2 feet, and placing the liners and things of such.
So then the 3-month maintenance period will start in September?
It will start once we accept it.
Right.
Yes.
Which will be 10 days after August 26th.
There you go.
As long as everything's done right.
As long as everything is done right. And that should take us to next fiscal year. Hopefully I can get
Yes,
that
it
first.
will.
Yes,
So that'll
like,
give you 3 months to find somebody.
so like any capital project, so we will carry that to city council, right, for them to accept, and that's whenever the 3 months, I guess, would start out after city council acceptance. Yeah.
Yes.
So that'll take us to November.
Yes.
I would like to see more plants, though, more plants.
So I can definitely fill you in
But
on
I
that.
can also put that in other park stuff, too.
Yeah, how do I put this in scale? The scale, it's a size. I think our landscaping on our police station is roughly a little over 450, or right at 450,000. That includes a fence, but our new police station landscaping alone, which is just shrubbery, no flowers, nothing exotic, no fancy things, and it doesn't include the pond and the stagnation and things like that. It's $450,000.
They don't need that. They're getting a new station.
But that is just the cost. That is just the cost. This is mandatory landscaping by our zoning requirements. So that is just the cost. So to say that we did this for the price we did it at, even they were laughing at like, hey, you guys stole this from us. We don't do projects at this amount and this volume for this price. That y'all did it. Y'all did good.
I believe they are losing money on this
I'm almost positive.
at this time.
Just having the resources that people still, apply to this project. They're still paying them to be on this project, to answer emails, to talk to me on the phone, and they're not making that back.
And I guess I could tell you that the focus of this phase was the garden itself. If you look in the master parks plan, there's many more things that are planned out there. A pavilion would be amazing, of course. The restrooms, to expand those, more parking. They're the big trail, and this is just the garden. So
What page is that, Dan?
Sure, that's page 61.
61?
Yep, 60 has the cost estimate at the time, a few years old, and then 61 is kind of the overall conceptual drawing for what Croy could look like.
I'm sorry, there was no page numbers. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, goodness.
If it helps, it says priority.
Towards the back, section 6,
yeah.
priority
6.
projects.
Yeah.
Does that help?
That would probably help. The Almost Heaven Park?
Before that, so there's
Yeah,
only
it's right
81
there.
pages,
Okay.
so I'm on page 61, so yeah, very, very close to the back.
Yeah. So there's still plans for a dog park there when there's one across the street?
This was just conceptual.
Oh, okay.
Again,
Yeah,
so
okay.
this is where, candidly, this Parks Board is really going to help us out, because we can't do it all. There's great ideas in this thing, lots of them, but we can't do all of them. So much so that none of them are planned for next year's budget. Save and except, I guess, the project number 2, which we can talk about in a minute. But what would be tremendously helpful, especially with y'all's expertise, is, okay, what's the next thing? What is it that we need? Is it the big trail? Is it the pavilion? Is it the restrooms? Is it all of it? What would be the next thing? Hey, the garden, that's getting some synergy going. That's what we wanted. We wanted to clean that up. The unsafe old gazebo is gone, so.
The parking lot.
The parking lot, yeah, it could be the parking lot, but some input on that, some real
Parking loop.
assistance.
More than one way to
Tying
get
all
in
the
and out.
trails.
There you go.
Anyway, I just wanted to show that to you. So there's still more that, could conceptually be done. We still have property out there. We're not, we're landlocked in the best way. We're right up against Mustang Bayou, which is just tremendous.
Opportunities, real opportunities,
Yeah.
Real
trails
opportunities.
there.
Yeah.
You want to
Exactly.
start talking about doing some education right
Maybe
there.
even an orchard or something.
But again, you got to get them there. You got to have a safe place for them to park. You got to have a good restroom for them to use.
Yeah,
All those
definitely.
things that make people, want to go to Buc-ee's. Why do you want to go to Buc-ee's? Because you can eat off the floor. Okay. There's things that that draw.
There is a good restroom at Croy Park.
Yeah.
It wasn't for a long time.
Yeah, that we put some money into that. And
I'm just saying, is like those
Yeah.
are the there's those kind of fundamental things that.
That's right. It was the events committee that paved the parking lot and fixed the restrooms. And
we pushed them. We pushed them hard. Because that was the only park that we could use to do anything with.
yeah. That's one thing that's really lacking here is a rentable place, a pavilion
A
or something
pavilion.
like that, where people can rent and have community events or private events. Like Croy Park is really kind of about it for like family reunions or something like that.
Staff concurs.
Yes.
Council concurred.
You mentioned the budget. Where were you all at as far as the final number, as the projected budget for the project and what it ended up at?
Oh, man, that's tough. I actually got to look back at that.
This is what they had last year. That's, I printed that.
Let me see if I can pull
Don't know if
that
they spent all that yet or not, so he can tell us.
I don't have that number right in front of me. And I don't want to be digging all
This
in
was a
my
year ago.
money, y'all.
Because do we really have a budget? No, right?
A reoccurring budget?
No, I just meant for.
Oh, just this
particular
part.
For your project, but Dan, do we as a Parks
Oh, the Parks
Recreation
Board
have-
itself.
Yeah.
Is there a budget for the Parks Board? No,
No.
not yet.
It's not. No, I don't think so.
No, there's not. So it's,
So we're going to steal money from Public Works and they're going to get angry with us?
We're going to go talk to HEB and get them to sponsor Croy Park. We're going
there
to,
you go.
Have them build the pavilion?
I'm telling you. This is,
Great idea.
Naming rights.
we got some, yes, naming rights is, that just seems like just for the picking. Do I know how to do that? No.
All I know is we
Will I
need to
learn?
do it at the
Somebody
beginning
can
of the
teach me.
year, that's all I
I'll
know.
knock on doors.
Discovery Green, we were great about naming. We named
Yeah.
shrubs.
We're gonna name, yeah, there's the spigot that you can have large or small, you can have stones.
Thought
We
it was
can,
January.
it's happening, but Keating, I can't believe nobody's tapped Keating to do anything over there, right across the freeway.
There's no one to do the tapping.
HEB to do the fair.
Well, we'll do the tapping, just if somebody's already done it, so we know how to do it, I'll be happy,
A week ago, okay.
get them jazzed up.
So I got this phase of the project was $97,668.06.
And that's up to phase 2 or 3?
This is just phase 3.
3, okay.
Yes.
The overall budget was somewhere like 250.
250, yeah, but it was actually kind of cut short.
Well, and it was split into two phases.
It was split into two
Yeah,
phases. So
that's
this
what-
phase 3 was this amount. Phase 2 was the prior that included the arbor and things.
Yeah, as they were finishing phase 2, there was concern about, well, do we really want to do plantings in the middle of the winter kind of
Exactly.
thing? So the council cut it off and then did, we call it phase 3. I think on some of their documents, they still call it phase 2.
call it phase
2, yeah, we weren't
Yeah.
including the playground and stuff.
Yes.
Right,
And then
right.
you had that drought, and then there was no native plants available.
Find anything, following the
And then
freeze.
It snowballed into
Yes.
problems.
Yes.
Other than
Still.
the drought and the 12 days straight of rain and the hurricane, everything's been really smooth.
Yeah. Just a little hot.
So we're,
Texas weather.
we're waiting on volcano, and
Yeah.
what else are we waiting on?
Okay,
Earthquake?
don't even say that,
Maybe it'll keep it away.
because then we'll have an earthquake too.
I understand there is a fault that goes through the 160 acres. Is that true?
What's that?
There's a fault that goes through our 160 acres.
That's not on the agenda, Brian. The next project,
Hit your
Mr. Chairman,
gavel.
do you wanna reel
Yeah.
us in?
Will you silence this man?
So any more updates on Croy or anything?
No, so basically we were right on schedule with the budget. We just processed their prior pay app back in June. There hasn't been another pay app since then. They're still out roughly $30,000 for the water features that are still remaining to be done. So they've only got 2/3 of this contract paid to them until those are done. So that's where we're at.
May I ask a question?
Oh, yeah.
After the 3-month maintenance, and if we don't have a maintenance, park maintenance, is that something we could do a contract with them for, so, to have them come out and upkeep it? Because the park needs it. And is there a reason the swings are so high? Have you ever noticed that? They're like, if you
I have to pick my
stand-
daughter up to get on
you
there.
stand- They're like this.
Yeah, they're about
high.
3 foot off the ground. I'm not sure if there's actually a particular requirement.
Yeah.
I kind of like
Yeah.
it because I don't want my daughter getting on the swing without me. Because she's
Right.
the type that just
We put the baby in the swing, and he loved it because
Oh,
it
the
was
baby
so
swings
high.
have to be that high,
But
yeah.
they're that high. But the other swings were that high too, so I couldn't even touch the ground when I was swinging in them.
Oh well.
So,
I'd be surprised if there wasn't somewhere a requirement.
Requirement, yeah.
so that so I was
I mean,
just
yes.
wondering
So
about
much
that.
that
On the extension question, this extension of maintenance, actually Larry was on council and we talked about that very thing at the council level was because as it turns out, they provide, the same company provides landscaping maintenance for Pomona, which is right there. So that's actually, I was just reviewing our emails to make sure that we got that, because that's probably what's going to happen, quite frankly. Even if we get somebody, hire somebody tomorrow,
We'll want that.
yeah, we want to extend that. So, yes.
Is that a write-off if you do that? Do y'all get to do it as a write-off, as an expense
We don't
then?
get taxed. I don't think we get right.
I feel like this is a Seinfeld episode. Yeah, we just write it off. What does that mean? Do you even know what that means? We just write it off.
No, but that's good to know that they can do that and
Oh, yeah.
contract them.
Yep.
Because, like you said, our Public Works guys are already spread thin.
The twist. We are definitely
One
spread.
one additional question on that maintenance. if we are able to hire and get a person in place, do we have the equipment that he or she needs to?
Okay, equipment. Brian, you want to answer that for me? I think you're best versed for this.
The Public Works would have Public Works equipment. A lot of it would suffice for park maintenance, mowers, wheelbarrows, stuff like that. There's some specialized equipment. I don't know how much spraying equipment you're going to have, irrigation repair, but the basic stuff, yes. A maintenance person would need some sort of a budget, just for hand tools and stuff like that, specialized things.
Even if it's to start off, if the groundskeeper, the maintenance person is just in charge of making sure that it gets done, whether they're the human being that does it or not, even if they're just the one managing the subs and everything, that we don't have that even right now. So,
Knowledgeable eyes.
There you go. The
Exactly.
knowledge and the know-how. How do you patch a DG trail?
Right.
How do you remove weeds from a DG trail? Yeah. It's not that simple. You leave a void and then it starts crumbling and falling apart. We tried. That's why I know.
And we don't want the same equipment that was just out, in Johnson grass and in the roadside ditches and everything, and now we're carrying all this
carried
stuff.
over to this beautiful
Yeah,
St. Augustine. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So we'll get there. You want to talk about the next project?
Yeah, let's talk about the City Hall Park.
Yes. So this is kind of exciting because this particular park, as we're calling it, is not in here. It's a new thing that's just happened since the property right behind City Hall. So we've got stripes right here, and then this property right behind us. The city purchased that about 2 years ago, I guess, or so, 2 years or less. And then we're also in the middle of purchasing what was piece by piece. I think we close on that at the end of the month, right? But so we'll have that whole stretch right there. And why did we chase that? I guess. Well, one reason is because we've already outgrown this building almost immediately. We're not ready to go out to the 160 acres and whatever that's going to be to move City Hall and everything. So we need to add on here. It won't be wasted. This building will eventually probably become our courthouse, quite frankly, because it is so, if you come here on court days, it is so busy already. So, and that's only increasing. So we need to add another building about the same size as this one, about we're right in the middle of our parking lot. So we're going to have to be able to still park somewhere. What we don't want to do is just clear cut that whole area over there and put parking. So we're thinking about something like, and I don't know if you watched the meeting where P. Gow, the city's architect, put out some kind of conceptual ideas. But one idea is, if you've been to the courthouse in Angleton, you know how the courthouse is over there and there's the parking kind of across the street, but then there's some on-street parking as well. So I don't know if that means a partial closure of the street itself, where we could have some on-street parking and then not have to clear cut that area back there, keep some of those big mature trees, and have literally a small park over there. And when this building was done, about that time it was turning from Chevron into Stripes, and there was actually a city right-of-way right here. And they needed that to be abandoned. So the city abandoned it, and basically the agreement was, okay, well, y'all put in a detention pond. They didn't need very much detention because it was already impervious cover from being Chevron. But what we did is we calculated what it would be if we filled this entire, city block, so to speak, full of concrete. How much detention would we need? So that already covers all of us over here. We can put whatever we want, so to speak. But nobody knew we were going to be buying the stuff across the street. My point with all that, whatever new impervious cover that we add, we're going to have to detain for. Now, there's a little bit of existing from the homes that were there and the driveways and everything, so that'll help out a little bit. But we're anticipating probably a pond closest to 1128, and one idea was that we literally fence that in and make that a little dog park over there too. I don't know if y'all were here for the farmers market a couple weeks ago. That was the first one. A lady, Colleen, what's Colleen's last name, Tammy? I always forget. Anyway, Manvel Market, she went out and basically secured the website and everything for this organization. I think she registered as a 501c3 for it and everything. So just taking it on all by herself, and then the city kind of partnered with her. And the first one was done right here right, in the city. And parking lot's not super exciting, but if we were able to do something like that across the street, if we were able to do, a food truck kind of thing on a weekend, if our extravaganza, when we hide Easter eggs, there are so many opportunities to get to do right here, which people already know where City Hall is. So why not take advantage of that? So anyway, we just started. In fact, I'm still working on the contract with the architect. So this is real early right now, but I wanted to prime the pump with y'all because we're going to be looking for input. We've got a lot of good expertise on here. We've talked about, again, the dog park. We've talked about maybe, if possible, maybe some inclusive type playground equipment. I don't know if it'll be, there's not a lot of area. But again, to have something right here with the nice shade trees and, even if it's, hey, I got to go pay a parking fine, you kids play, and I'll be back in a little bit. Maybe a silly example, but just take advantage, I guess, of the synergy here. So that's forthcoming. We did work that into the budget. So it's the same certificate of obligation that we did in 2023. So it paid for the police station, the public works facility, and the city hall expansion. So we've got right at $6 million total. And that includes soft costs, the park, the parking, the building, and everything. And right now he thinks that we'll be able to do all that. So.
How much will the Parks Board be involved with public events? The parks and events kind of go hand in hand, like the farmer's market and all of that. Will we have a role to play with that?
That's a great thought. I mean, staff is we're at full bandwidth, quite frankly. I mean, we're not. The revenues that we're anticipating for next year with some of the things going on in the budget, the new homestead exemption, which is really exciting, but it took some revenue away. So we're basically having to run the city next year with the same amount of money that we've got this year, even though we're growing, even though we need more people, so it's a little tight. My point being, you guys are free labor, so if y'all are willing, we'd love the input. We'd love, absolutely, for events. I mean,
They've got it in the code here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Even better.
The park design is so much geared around public involvement, and public involvement is so geared around events that it's kind of impossible to look at the design of a park without thinking about how is it going to be used for events.
Sure.
And that's one of the things we were selling Croy Park about was these events you just described, the Easter egg hunt, all sorts of farmers market, food trucks, all that out there as a way to highlight it once we finished it up and show it off, get people involved. So until you have the local one, I'm just saying
Right.
Let's not forget we can.
And that's where she had planned to. She was going to be out at Croy Park, and then just the logistics of it. It's just not quite there yet. I mean, there's certainly a lot more room.
We're not there yet. Yeah.
A lot more room to spread out there for sure. But anyway, so the decision was made to do this first one here, and she still had 18 vendors or something like that.
Yeah, it was actually really nice. The only thing with Croy Park is the parking.
Right.
And that's where it's going to fall short. And I know we had plenty here because it was her first event, and there was quite a few people that came through.
Yeah.
So
it was over 200, you said?
Yeah.
What was the website you said she sent out?
It's Manvel Market.
Manvel Market.
And make sure you hit Manvel, not Manual. That happened to me quite often. But her last name's not on there, so all we know is Colleen.
There you go.
Chada?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, consistency in events is what really drives them. It's good to have one farmer's market, but if you can do it once a month.
That's what she was hoping for. She wanted to see, I think she was going to do it as a quarterly deal first to see how much she can get in. Dan, will the concept of the City Hall Park, is that going to have access to water? So if we did a dog park, we could have a water fountain. What about a splash pad? Is it something, or is that too much on the insurance side?
Well, ever since what happened, was it Angleton or Lake Jackson? Yeah, we are deathly afraid of that. I mean, they can't be done awesome, but I don't know.
But for sure, the
Anything's
dog
possible.
park, if we go that route, we'll have water.
Yes, we've got water right here. Yes, ma'am, we sure
Yeah.
do. Bobby just reminded me, so an ordinance passed back in 2015, and we need to send this out to them, I guess.
The stuff that Annie sent out.
Did she already send it? Ordinance 2015-0-14. This helps answer the question that Brian was asking. If you go down to section 4754, some of the duties, act in an advisory capacity in all matters pertaining to public parks and rec, like Bobby said, and tourism facilities. Here, I love this one. B, make recommendations to the city manager and the city council on the annual Parks and Rec budget. There you go.
I recommend you
Oh, we already did it.
double it.
Do you think it should be more than
We already
zero?
swore in, and now you look at here. Yeah.
I have a quick question about the budget, Dan. Do we have anybody on staff with the city that could look at grant opportunities for some of these projects?
Is it on the list?
The board is actually empowered to pursue grants.
We don't have a grants coordinator is the short answer. We've been able to do some grants here and there. It's one of those things, I wish I had somebody just sitting there that could draft them up. But I know there are a lot of grants coordinators that will, it's almost like they don't get paid unless they win the grant kind of thing, and they work that into the admin fee or whatever. So if y'all have some opportunities, we're absolutely all ears. We have a grant policy that we need to follow, which basically just says, hey, let's run it by city council just to make sure. And if there,
What strings?
are there any hickeys on any strings attached? And then ultimately, what would the local match be? How much are we talking about? What worst case scenario that we'd be out of pocket? But
I think that the key to the grant writing, I can start some of the process, but the key is the ideas. You get an idea and you search for it. So I think that if you start, we collect ideas and then start researching the grant opportunities. There's a lot out there for the state of Texas and for regional small towns such as we have here. I know you don't want to be called a town, but anyway. Small cities that we have here. There are a lot of grants available, but I think the idea is important. And so once we have some ideas about what we really want, I think that you can drive the grants from there.
The county was really good when I was on their board. They were really good at getting grants, seeking and receiving grants, and they worked very hard at it. They made sure they checked all the boxes. But they had a grant writer. The first 2 years, she brought in $0. The third year, she brought in $1.2 million. The second year, she brought in $2 million. The third year, she quit and went somewhere else.
Stay on topic on our agenda, but grants would be a good top one, maybe one of the first topics that we're wants to explore on a future agenda, but technically it's not on our agenda.
Right.
Let's take to some of the topics that we're on.
Item number 4 under agenda item 5, Dolores Martin Park updates.
sure, Dolores Martin Park. So that is a park in this plan as well. It was not named at that time just yet, but if you're still on the page where Croy was, that would go 1, 2, 3 more pages. Page 67 is what it's called.
67, not 65, okay.
Yeah, so it's going to show Almost Heaven Park and what was called the Sand Quarry Park. So it's no longer the Sand Quarry Park. It's now called Dolores Martin Park. Now this one, we've had an initial meeting with Ryan Cade's office about, if you hadn't noticed, there's not a single county park in the city of Manvel. And so this was the second time, I guess, in maybe 3 or 4 years that we visited with them. But this time it seems like they really want to try and figure out, the big thing that we've got is we own the property. Okay, so that's the start. We even have somewhat of a conceptual design, and the one I'm talking about is this part right here. This is County Road 58, heading back that way towards New Hope, if you know the kind of the double dog leg. And then heading up this way is to Sedona Lakes. So Almost Heaven has been there for a long, long time. It kind of feels like it's part of Sedona Lakes. It's technically owned by the city. That park is in the ETJ, but this is in our city limits. Now, if you've been out there anytime recently, you know it looks a little bit different than this. So part of this peninsula, or whatever you would call that, I guess that'd be an isthmus. Anyway, that's been filled in. And this, it shows it's filled in. Well, it actually has been filled in. It was not filled in at this time. And anyway, we've got a partnership with BDD4, the Drainage District in Pearland, where they've, this was dug like a quarry, like a sand pit, meaning there were no regard for side slopes or anything like that. So a lot of vertical walls, and those walls tend to walk. And so if we didn't do something pretty quickly in a couple of those areas, we were about to buy property whether we wanted to or not, because it was walking. So they've been able to fill that in and compact it and everything. So there's some real opportunities to do. This is about 5 acres, just to give you an idea. So I mean, this is well over 100 acres, and this isn't park ready by any stretch of the imagination yet. And then this over here does not, along the west and the north, doesn't exist like that yet. It's again pretty vertical walls, and there are trees right up against the. I always forget the name of that park, the mobile home park right next to it. Oakcrest, yep. So it's right up against there. And so what we've talked about with BDD4, and the plan is that they'd give us at least 100 feet from the property line of width there, where we could safely have a walking trail go around the whole pond. So anyway, all that to say, we had the kickoff meeting with Ryan Cade's office, and they're very interested in it. They want to have a county park in Manvel as well, it seems like. And so if our contribution is owning the property and letting them use it, regardless of how that shakes out at the end, they were okay with even calling it Dolores Martin Park. So they weren't going to take the name away from us or anything. But ultimately, who maintains it and what the features are, we've got a long way to go on that. But just wanted to give you an update on it. Their parks, the county parks guy, he's amazing. He's awesome.
Brian Frazier.
The other Brian, yeah.
He really is.
Excited.
Yeah, super excited.
He really was about the lake part.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about how there was already fish in it, and that was kind of shallow areas that were great for. What was the kind of fish he said were already there?
Well, there's a lot. There's bass in there. There's
it was something I never even thought about being in there, though, that he called out. So he was real excited about the possibility.
There's catfish too.
This could be something like, even if the county's going to do it, this could even be like putting fishing piers out there and having the kids. Is this the lake where they do the kids fish?
No. Well, people fish out there, but it is.
Yeah, I think the state
trespass
or
fish, yeah.
Texas Parks Department does that every year, where
Gotcha.
the kids can go out and fish.
Gotcha.
I know they have the free day, but I thought we had one here that they sponsored.
But
They do that in a variety of places.
Do they?
But kind of along those lines, the example that they were thinking, and I was thinking it too, and when they said it, it was like, oh my goodness, yes, please, was Renwick. Not Renwick.
Dolores.
Resoft. I'm so sorry. Resoft. Sorry. Resoft Park, which is the one in Alvin, which people absolutely go out there and fish. So, if it were anywhere similar to that, where you could have, several different gazebos and pavilions, and the mayor actually threw out an idea too. What if you had a facility over here, an events facility, with a glass, the windows and everything that overlook. Because if you haven't seen this, I should have had you put up some. We've got some great drone footage of it. It is absolutely gorgeous, which led me to mention to the county too, if we put a parking lot down here, what we don't want to do, and this is coming from an engineer and a floodplain manager, is we don't want to send we don't want to use this as our detention pond, because we don't have a rainbow sheen on there. We don't want one. And there's a little low spot down here. That would be the place to do our detention, if you will, because it's completely native. I mean, nothing flows into this from anywhere. There's no overland channel. I mean, it's all aquifer fed. Yeah, and I don't even know that it's connected to Mustang Bayou.
A floating island in there for the migratory birds for that too.
Maybe so.
Maybe put an island out there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Dolores,
It's the only large body of water in the region. I think it's
that stays.
80 acres, yeah.
It's very deep.
It's about, yes, it is. It's almost 50 feet deep in some areas.
It was a sand pit.
Yeah, I went down to the bottom whenever they still had the pump on it. And this little bitty trash pump that was just keeping it down while they were doing their operations. And when they turned that thing off, it did not, I don't know, I thought it was going to take years or something to fill. It was months, and the whole thing filled up with just this beautiful water. So Anyway, so more to come on that one. We're very, very early on in that, but that would be a huge partnership, if we get to do that with the county. Let me go to the next one.
Yeah, sidewalk master plan.
Yeah, so that's one of the few. We've got a master water plan. We've got a master wastewater plan, master thoroughfare plan, master parks plan. All of these master plans, and we don't really have a sidewalk plan. And it shows, quite frankly, if you watch the kids walking along Highway 6 even, and you've got the area between McCoy and Masters, whether it's Charlotte or Large or Lewis, all of these roads that are just prime for sidewalks. Problem is they're open ditch. And we're using every bit of right of way that we have. So we're gonna have to get creative, right? And that's just one area. We've got the newer subdivision, the Lakelands and Blue Water Lakes and all those sidewalks, of course. But where we're going with this is the CO, the certificate of obligation that we just did this year. It was for $50 million, and $40 million of it is for the new water reclamation facility, the wastewater treatment plant. And then council earmarked the other 10 for streets, drainage, sidewalk projects. So we're thinking that's going to be phase 3. Phase 1 is underway right now. That's converting, believe it or not, all the gravel roads to asphalt. So we've already done, I want to say 5, I think, out of the 7. Yeah. So if you look, Loudon, Maywald, Spillane, Gutierrez and Jerusalem under construction right now. And then, of course, the big ones are Belcher and Oilfield, but it actually has a name. Scopel, sorry. Yeah. So anyway, that's phase 1, and the phase 2 is looking at we have a master street plan, street improvement plan, and so there were some recommendations in there on which roads. Hey, you need to get on these roads, otherwise it's going to be a little expensive now. But if you wait, it's going to be very expensive. So maintenance wise. So that's phase 2, and then phase 3 we're thinking could be the sidewalk plan. Preliminarily, maybe 2 million of the overall 10 million, maybe could be put towards sidewalks. And what we're talking about is not. I don't want to use this, and I think council's on the same page. I don't think we want to use this to just repair sidewalks that are broken. We've got a fund for that. We've got, this is the new ones, the ones where we don't have anything. So I'm not there yet. But what I've asked our team to do is put together on our GIS layer. Let's see where all the existing sidewalks are, and then overlay our thoroughfare and stuff like that, so that we can put it up on a map, and we can all, this group can. Well, let's do this one first, and we'll have a dollar per foot kind of thing handy, so we know how many feet we can get out of 2 million as an example. So, is that something y'all would like to be a part of, the sidewalk plan?
I'm curious, are you considering these as trails? Why is the Parks Board involved? It seems like more like
It doesn't have to be. I need some input on that. I think it would go a long way with council and with the transparency in the community. I don't know that it does. I don't know if sidewalks is in
Linking the
there.
community together.
Sure, absolutely. And I think that the if I can speak for the board, we're here to help staff in any way that
Okay.
you need help, right? Obviously. I just was curious, the sidewalks don't really seem like, unless you call them trails.
Oversized sidewalks.
Yeah.
The sidewalk trails, yep, that's what I meant.
We were on the thoroughfare plan, I was on the thoroughfare plan, and we specified a 12-foot sidewalk to go through Blue Water, because we wanted it to be
And it's there, yeah.
It is,
Yep.
yeah. I almost crashed the car the first time I saw it.
We have to keep people from driving on it sometimes,
Yeah,
because 12 foot's wider than some of our roads.
yeah. It was intended as a part of a parade route.
Yes,
you know.
exactly.
So it had a purpose, and it also was the backbone of a trail system. So not only is it sidewalk, but it's also trails. So I think I'd be very interested to see ways that we could connect sidewalks to
Yeah.
the trails, like the one that we were talking about, Coy
Yeah.
Park. That would be, those would definitely link.
Yeah, I can see that as a
If you
alternative to the parks.
if you
Absolutely.
spent the $2 million on new sidewalks, would you have the money to maintain those going forward?
Yes, I mean, what we'll have to do is methodically bump up our sidewalk maintenance budget But we've done that with the streets as well, because, every year, all of these new streets that are coming in, after 2 years, then they're ours to maintain. So, and some of them are, and we inspect them all. It's pretty crazy, but some of them, workmanship is just right. I'm trying not to look at anybody that lives in a certain subdivision. Some folks have had issues. Some of them are built wonderfully.
There are no sidewalk issues in my neighborhood, I can tell you that.
You don't have any sidewalks?
Me either.
Yeah, that's
I don't have street light issues either.
yeah.
We have the big.
You're in the dark
ditches,
skies area.
so we have this much sidewalk, and that's the painted line along the street.
There you go.
There you go.
So would y'all put, how would y'all add those sidewalks? Would you just put the,
Yeah, so one or two things. So if there's a roadside ditch on both sides and it's already taken up the full right-of-way, your three options are, one, you get a right-of-way, even if it's a sidewalk easement, so to speak, from the property owners. Well,
they're not going to do
the
that.
people that live on those roads that I mentioned, most of them don't have kids that are walking to these schools, so they'd probably just assume the kids not walk on a sidewalk right up closer to the house. So maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe it does. Probably more realistically, we're probably putting a sidewalk on one side of or the other. We'll say the north side of the road. I don't know. Pick a side, and we're gonna have to fill in that open ditch with a storm sewer pipe.
Or
We did.
culverts,
Yep.
Yeah.
So we did a little pilot study. If you've noticed, behind City Hall, right here, between Stripes and our parking lot, we filled that ditch in a couple years ago. To kind of monitor that. Let's see how this works, because obviously we don't want to lose any of the capacity of our ditch, because heaven knows we use every single square inch of capacity in those. So we don't want to make it worse, of course. So we have to be smart about what size pipes we put in there. But anyway, yeah, you'd have to fill that in, cover it up, and then put the sidewalk on top.
Sounds hugely expensive.
It is. Yeah. So we'll probably get one sidewalk out of the 2
That's
million.
why he was saying we figure out just how much we can squeeze out of 2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how much per foot?
Yeah. Now I do know that there are sidewalk grants as well. So especially around all these schools, surely
I'm
there's.
sure that would be a stipulation is around the school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, finding secondary ways to get to places, non-motorized transportation,
Mhm.
really important. And I think we have a great opportunity for that.
All right, we ready to move on to park ordinance updates?
Yeah. So on that one, what we've been doing with a lot of our existing ordinances, and you name it, from food trucks to obviously animal control. Some of these ordinances are easier to update than others, quite frankly. So what we're learning is, the more input we can have from folks that are in those fields, the better. So we don't have anything in front of you right now. Just something to be thinking about. For a long time, there was no requirement for the amount of parkland that you had to dedicate. And if I remember right, I want to say it was Newport Lake Estates was the one that sort of triggered that. I don't know if anybody else was around for that, but
I worked on that.
okay, it feels like that's where that came from, because say like Lakeland, for instance.
It was actually Lakeland.
Yeah, as a result of Lakeland, which has detention ponds, and they've got some green space around the detention ponds, and that was kind of the old way that developers would use, hey, well, look at all of this acreage that I'm dedicating as park space. Like, well, it's just really unusable space that it's detention. So the way it is now, the ordinance is you can use up to half, and that's it. And then you got to do an actual park. Or at least if it's a small, there's a calculation. If it's a smaller amount, then you can actually pay towards a park fee, a fund, excuse me, where we could compile it together in lieu of, thank you. So it's a lot better than it was, but that's, probably hadn't been touched in 10 years or so.
It was 2016 we worked on that.
Hey, look at that, yeah, 8 years, yeah.
Either 15 or 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think that one is absolutely up y'all's alley. Is be good. Hey, how is this working out? There was talk in there of connectivity. Again, I want to say is it 1 acre per
900 homes.
Huh?
It was
per 100 homes? No.
900, I think. No, it was
I think it's 1 per 100.
100 homes.
Yeah.
Uncle Steve.
Is that right, Joe?
Been a,
Do you want to talk
been a
about this?
Joe's?
Okay.
Joe's?
I'm good. He said. For those that didn't know, so Joe's was on staff. Did we talk about that already? No. So Joe's was on staff before, and then he was gone for a little bit, and we were able to bring him back. And when he left, he was our city planner. Now he's actually our director over development services. So it's kind of a small coup. I'm just really excited to have him back on the team. So all of our city planners and engineers and our GIS coordinator, all of our permitting, that's all in his department. So.
All right, looks like that was the last item. Somebody is gonna have to brush me up on my policies and procedures here.
Robert's orders.
since it's our first meeting, is there, normally we would just say that's it, wrap it up, adjourn. But since it's our first meeting, is there anything else that people want to discuss parks-wise?
How often do you all want to meet? That would be helpful, right?
Yeah, when are we going to meet? And then how are we going to, when we first talked about the Parks Board, I imagined that we would have like a Microsoft Teams or something like that, where we would all contribute. If you had ideas in the middle of the night, you could log on and just sign. But obviously with the
Open Meetings Act.
Open Meetings Act,
OMA is
we can't, so how?
poured water on that.
Are we only going to conduct business when we're here once a month? Because we have an ambitious list of things to do, and if we're only meeting. Come back completed without talking to each other? Like, how exactly are we going to conduct business?
So for the original Parks Board, and Brian, you'll remember, you actually appointed some subcommittees of your own board, so that, like, Dorothy worked on the horse trails that they were working on. So if there's certain topics that individuals specialize in that you want to, maybe on the next agenda, we can put on there for you guys to do some of those subcommittees, working independently, less than a quorum, but then not using those same people to touch base with each other on the side, because then you have your daisy chain going on. But that would be about the only way you're going to be able to knock things out outside of public meetings.
So, committee work. Okay. Yeah, I remember I was on the trail committee with Angela
Yes.
Dickerman and some upstart young kid who, his name Dan Davis, who never seen him
I
before.
heard bad things about him.
Yeah, I don't know. He was
I think
gangbusters.
he's
on
banned.
My idea.
Banned from Manvel, I think.
Wow.
All right.
All right, okay. We're all done, meeting adjourned.
Well, go to that photocopier and
See, that's the thing.
pass
Is,
it
To
out.
me, I like to talk about it though, so that's
Yeah.
where
But I
it
mean,
hurts me.
obviously, she has a lot of good ideas, but unless we talk about them here in the meeting, we
We
can't
can't talk
talk
about
about
it, yeah.
them.
And they have to be on the agenda to talk about.
So somebody has to decide what's on the agenda.
Just publish a book and we can read the.
There you go. Okay, is that
That's
would be
free.
okay, right?
Yeah,
So,
publish it.
I mean, a suggestion might be, do you want to meet monthly, for instance, to start? And then what we could do, I guess, like our other boards and commissions, Tammy or I could, the three of us, I guess, with a chair, and if you want maybe the vice chair, we could get together and sort of talk about an agenda prep meeting, and hey, what do we want to, how much do we want to bite off? Do we want an hour and a half meeting, or do we want a 3-hour meeting? Do we need to start earlier? Let's talk about those kind of things.
Maybe try to figure out, like, focus on the Croy Park since that's really up and going.
Yeah,
And
get
then since we
ourselves
don't have a timeline on the city park, but, it's just, I think maybe we should focus on that and let's get that taken
Getting
care
something
of.
completed.
Yeah.
The idea about that too was that if we get this jewel created, it really lights a fire. People can see what we're able to do.
And they'll be more apt to be
Right.
to
If we
be
meet-
behind us on what we do.
Yeah.
Versus
Instead
complaining.
of getting,
If we meet once a month, then if we meet a month from now, we'll be meeting just at the completion of the water features.
we should meet out there, huh? Go look at it.
We could. Is Thursdays good for everybody?
That's what I was going to ask. If we can't, Thursdays are iffy for me.
Okay.
But is there a day that, And Mondays, I can't.
So Mondays and Thursdays are bad for you?
They are, but
Okay,
if no one else has a problem with Thursdays, I can rearrange. Since it's just once a month, I can probably rearrange it, and that would work. That would be until December 1st. After December 1st, I'm good.
Well, I know Mondays are swamped with
Yeah,
PD&Z
I'm
and.
gonna say I can't do Monday.
So I pulled the board, and I got the dates from every single person as well as the times. Earlier than 6 o'clock would not work for a few of the people, but Thursday was the one day that had the least amount of people that had conflicts. So I can tally all those up and send them out to everybody if you guys want to.
No, if that's what works, and as long as I know ahead of time, I can reschedule where I need to be on Thursday. I just need to give notice to the other people. So if Thursdays work perfect for you guys, then don't worry about it.
From a staff perspective, the only thing I would
Schedule
say
the
is
next meeting and get it scheduled, then I can take that time to do what I need to do on that Thursday. Get it done.
this particular week, so we had PD&Z Monday night, we had MEDC last night, and Parks Board tonight. So for the staff, 3 nights out of in 1 week it's a bit much to ask. That we'll just have to, and it just that was all we could do. What's that?
There's no helping that, right?
'Cause
Or is
Mondays
it-
are
This
done.
week, should we shift?
If we could shift it where we're not on the same week as MEDC.
Yeah, maybe the fourth Thursday of the month.
Or Thursday?
Yeah, but that next month, the EDMC has one on the 25th too.
Well, that one
That's actually.
is actually then the following. I mean,
like,
there is
what
a
about the
special
18th?
meeting that one situation, but if you want to have a consistent time frame, there was one of you that couldn't do the second, I think the second Thursday. There was, do one of y'all's have a conflict with one of the, like a Lions meeting or a,
I know it's Tuesday.
it was a Tuesday, was it your schedule? Was it a Tuesday? Okay, I thought there was one, I knew it was a T day that interfered. So we could do the second or the fourth Thursday of the month.
The 12th or the 26th of September?
Mm-hmm.
Both work for me.
And like I said, it's enough time for me to schedule what I need to schedule out of.
What's the easiest load for the city?
Yeah. Or would the 19th be easier? What do y'all got going that week?
So that's the one where we have the EDC, the week of our normal Monday meeting, Wednesday meeting, and then it would be a Thursday meeting for the staff.
Normally, except for next month, it's the 11th and the 25th for the EDMC, right? We're talking about September, right?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, EDC is the second Wednesday of each month, so it would be the third or the fourth. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So it would
The
be
19th
the
or the
19th?
Or the 26th.
Does it,
The 26th honestly would work. Actually, either one, because it's next week that I have to go. So actually, either one of those days work for me. On Thursday, I can reschedule.
Thursday the 26th then of September?
Perfect. 6 o'clock?
And Tammy, we can just get with Samuel beforehand to talk about, hey, which things do we want to have on the agenda? Sounds like maybe Croy and maybe the ordinance, the parks ordinance.
And assigning committees?
And signing committees,
That would have to be on
subcommittees.
the agenda. Setting committees, yeah.
Are these meetings broadcast on YouTube for the public?
Yes.
Green lights on.
Oh, and plus it's, Tammy, we sign on the signature of person and printed name, correct?
In blue.
With blue.
Okay, so the top line up there.
Whoever has
Okay,
the
so
blue,
the-
pass it down.
Okay.
Blue ink pen, anybody?
I got one.
I might have one here.
Here you go.
Mine are all blue.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry if I talk a lot, and
That's okay.
And I just, so, I'm sorry if I did that.
There you go, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I was only told that it was on the board, so if it was black, then people would suspect that you were just Xeroxing.
You can also tell the original when it's signed in blue.
Larry, how many times have you done those?
This yours? Thanks, ma'am.
So, Ellen,
Yes, ma'am.
your Nathan trucking?
Yes, ma'am.
Seawall trucking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the family business I came back to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've 35 years now.
Wow. Yeah, my dad passed away suddenly. And then it just kind of came back just for a little while and then.
Yeah.
So we, meeting adjourned, Gal?
Do we have
There we
to
go.
take a vote?
No, you don't ever have to take a vote to adjourn.
Well, why do we?
They, yeah, sometimes they're just so perfunctory, unless anybody objects, it just adjourns the meeting. But other times you can make it real formal. But
Your dad used to, we had some of the.
A vote to stay longer.
I wasn't sure when it would get passed out. So I went ahead and made my own off of the email that she sent.
Yeah, your dad and us, we had some of the same customers. Y'all would do all the oversized loads and we do the.
You need to sit in there. Wow.